I've done annual planning in my business every single year since I started 8 years ago. What my annual planning looks like now is totally different from what it looked like then. I've learned a lot of things over the years. What works, what doesn't work. And this year specifically is probably going to be, from the outside, the strangest looking annual plan yet. So how I used to plan was what you would typically think of. I would set revenue goals and target numbers, and I would think about which different products and services I want to launch. But what I do now is actually totally different than that. When I plan my year, I like to get out of my normal environment and go to preferably a really nice hotel. Now I think a lot more about, how do I want my year to feel? How do I want to go through the year? And I do still think about what I want to make. I still do have revenue number goals, of course, but sort of in a more like enough type way. I figure out exactly what I expect the expenses of the business to be and what I need to cover my life expenses, and therefore what we need to make at minimum. Of course, we like to make more than the minimum, but I find that it brings me a lot of peace of mind just knowing, okay, we've hit our revenue number for the year and everything else on top of this is just gravy. And then the other thing which I think about in my planning is my non-negotiables. So the stuff I'm just not willing to accept in order to build the business and grow the business. Do I want constant calls and appointment? No. Do I want to manage a massive team? No. Do I want to have to show up on social media every day? Hell no. All of those are the non-negotiables by which my annual plan, I need to hit my goals, but not at the expense of those things. What I always start my annual reflections and goal planning for the next year with is first reflecting on the past year. What were our goals? Did we hit them? Did we not hit them? What were our revenue numbers? And what did we actually spend our entire year doing? This is vital for not making the same mistakes in future years. The reflection list, by the way, I literally use the same Google Doc every single year, and it already has the prompts for me, and so I just have to open up the Google Doc and then duplicate it and fill in for that year. So if you want that Google Doc, I'm happy to share it with you. I'll link it above for you or also in the description below. Again, it's quite literally the actual thing which I go through and ask myself and the questions which I use every single year. Ta-da! So this is quite literally like in my notes app, how simplistic our plan can be. I would do it every month, what sale we want to host that month. I figure out what the expected revenue is and I fill in the X's with it. I figure out what we're doing, myself and my 2 team members, in the off months. So I have what I'm doing and then what the team members are doing. For further out down the line, I definitely figure out, okay, this sale I want to happen in October, like 9 months away, but I probably haven't figured out like what projects we're doing in December next year, for example. So let's just talk about why that's important. So every year that I didn't hit my goals, when I looked at what went wrong, consistently I found that what I said I wanted to do, for example, to get more email subscribers, and then what I actually spent my time on, which was things like creating new products or services, updating copy on my sales pages, hiring team members, onboarding them. This is a massive culprit of business flops. I can't tell you the number of coaching calls which I've done with business owners who are struggling to meet their goals, to hit their revenue goals or their growth goals. And when this happens, I don't just sit and provide solutions. I actually start asking questions. So what was their goal? What is the activity which directly feeds into meeting that goal? What is the measurement of the output of that activity? For example, if someone wants to generate more revenue in their business and they have a solid offering in place and a really great conversion rate, then leads are most often the problem. And if leads are the problem, then they need to work on their marketing strategy. And if their marketing strategy of choice, for example, is Instagram, then I ask, okay, how many times have you posted on Instagram in the past month? That is the metric of output that's important in this case. And let me tell you, without fail, that's when the obstacles and excuses and what else they spent their time on comes tumbling out. Then it's about looking at those things that you did instead of posting on Instagram and determining, how do I overcome those obstacles? This is exactly what you need to do with yourself in your annual planning. As if I was sitting here and asking you those questions, which are on the list, but in real life. So yeah, let's chat about my annual plan for next year. So I am not changing anything that's working. Next year, we are going to sell my 3 same courses. I'm going to do 2 sales of my bigger course, Square Secrets Business, and at least 1 of my Square Secrets courses and 1 of my Content and List Academy courses. So that's 4 major launches in the whole year. I might throw 1 more in, but I'm not sure on that yet. In terms of marketing the business, we are sticking with our 3 main marketing strategies, which have done super well for us. So that is YouTube, the blog, and affiliates. I know saying that we're doing the same thing sounds kind of like we're not really doing anything, but that's definitely not the case. We plan on doing these strategies even better in the new year. So we're not simply just rinsing and repeating what exactly we're doing now. We're looking at really like, how can we improve on these marketing strategies? So we see a lot of growth potential in our blog and affiliates and YouTube. I am still obsessed with studying YouTube, how to grow on YouTube, just as much as I was like a year or 2 ago. And my team member Helen, who is on our affiliate program, has a lot of potential opportunity there too, which is really exciting. And then the other thing which I'm debating on is if we add a new product offering or if we scale what we currently have. So in terms of determining if we create a new offering, my first question is, what does our audience say that they want? Is there anything which they want which I'm not currently offering? And if not, can we affiliate for someone who already has this thing? Is there already someone who I trust and who I totally would get behind teaching this something to my people? If not, that's when I would consider adding a new offer. Now, some other changes which I'm thinking about in the new year is I want my YouTube channel to become a little bit more sort of like behind the business and what I'm learning and not just straight like educational content and tutorials. I think a lot about not just building a wide audience, but a deep audience. I think that just focusing on vanity metrics of like, this video idea is gonna get me 20,000 views or something isn't nearly as important as I want 500 people to buy my products this year. So what do they need to hear from me in order to do that? What relationship do I need to have with them for that to happen? And also, how can I continue to serve and continue the relationship which I have with my current customers and audience? I think the one thing that I didn't do so well last year was to go deeper with my audience. I did a few videos with the intention to go deeper with my audience, and I actually think back a lot to the days where I was just writing the blog, and I feel like I did better at this back then. The videos which I do, which are intended to go deeper, are never my best performing videos. They often get the least views, but to me, that is completely irrelevant. Those videos have a much deeper purpose than getting a click from the homepage or racking up some long-term views in the search of YouTube. I think a lot about entrepreneurs who are just focused on vanity metrics might not appreciate the value of a video which doesn't go the broadest to get the broadest reach or get the most views, but is a real relationship builder. Those have so much value. And another thing which I've thought a lot about is subscriber to views ratios. For entertainment channels, I don't know if you've ever noticed this. For personal brands, for example, I think of Eamon and Beck, I love their channel. Their channel has 1 million subscribers and they get incredible video views on every single video. They've changed topics from van life to cabin renovations to cancer journey to having a baby, and their audience has a deep relationship with them. And that's pretty typical in the entertainment sort of like YouTube industry, but not so much in the educational content space. If you look at a lot of education only channels and tutorial channels, there's really like no relationship at all with the audience. They might have 500,000 subscribers, but if they release a video, they could get literally like a few hundred or 1,000 views versus like at least 100,000 guaranteed views for like every single thing that Eamon and Beck put out there. And that's because there's a relationship with the audience there. So my focus isn't just on growing my channel with educational content, but also on growing the relationship and growing deep and not just wide, if that makes any sense. And so even 8 years into business, it's important that I again think about who is my ideal client and what content do they want to see from me. Last night, I literally studied my own YouTube watching habits, and I looked at 3 YouTube creators who I watch, and I legit made a list of every single video which I watched of theirs, and then I categorized it into a little like tick list to figure out what is it that I watch. And it's not just tutorials at all. I'm totally beyond that. Or I only search for a tutorial when I need that specific something. But then I was thinking about, how do I keep the relationship past the tutorial that someone needed? Or how do I get the audience from that tutorial video which I made, who they're at the point of needing the tutorial, onto more of my content? And what is next to build the relationship, and how do I get them from being a viewer of one piece of content to binging all of my content? And something which I noticed was I watch a lot of people's like lessons in business videos, like I did X and I learned this. And it's at the end of the year, and here's what I learned in 2023, for example. And also I really love people's life and business update videos. I'm nosy, and I think we all are. But anyways, I don't know why, but life and business update videos are always like so interesting. And the other thing I love is long form interviews and conversations with other entrepreneurs on their area of expertise. So I definitely want to bring more of that to the channel. So yeah, that's my game plan for next year. I do have to say, I'm actually filming this in the beginning of November. This is probably gonna go out in about a month. Sometimes I feel like these videos, which are more like the behind the scenes type videos, they come out way too late for like what seems logical in real time, but that's honestly, I feel like kind of a good thing. The fact that they come out late is actually because I'm so ahead with content. I hate doing things last minute. It's like massively stresses me out. And because I have 2 people who help me with the content, I kind of need to film like well in advance to give them time to do their jobs and like editing the videos and prepping the blog posts and scheduling the emails and all the rest of the things. So yeah, I actually have yet to do my annual planning for 2024 at this very moment, but by the time you watch this in December, I'll probably have done it. I tend to do it sometime in December. So yeah, I'm just gonna pick, I think, a free weekend or a few days where I don't have anything and find a nice hotel nearby and book it. So that should be interesting because I'll need to do a good bit of research on sort of like what's a nice hotel nearby here as we moved, and I actually have no idea like what good stuff is around here. So if you know anything in Zurich, let me know. Which, by the way, if you want the down low on that move, we actually moved to Switzerland this summer. I explain the why behind the move and my first impressions of the country. Spoiler alert, the place is really amazing. In a life updates video, which I did. If you see what I did there, creating more life and business update content for you, as I know that's what I would want to watch. But anyways, I will link that video over here for you next. I hope you enjoy the life and business updates and Switzerland details.